Leadership affects all people, whether we prefer the role of leader or follower, and it's beneficial to examine the topic well when considering advancement in the social groups in which we belong. In family groups, community groups, social groups, or in the workplace, leaders emerge among us. Some of those leaders inspire us and are effective at promoting growth in others. Some make us angry and stifle our sense of creativity with a selfish need for power. Most of the leaders in our lives fall somewhere in between, making mistakes along the way that generally follow the patterns of their personality type. Though research reveals that there are many different types of leadership styles, for this project we are considering just 4 of them. The first of these leadership styles is the servant leader. This is a concept of leadership originally explored by Robert K. Greenleaf. The servant leader is usually someone who devotes their life to serving others and is generally not looking for personal gain, either financially or otherwise. The servant leader looks to inspire growth in those he serves and is looking for successes for the individuals in his organization or for the organization itself. Often, servant leaders are found in not for profits or in religious life. This type of leader promotes a positive feeling among those with which he works and inspires workers to create, produce, and cooperate. However, this kind of shoulder to shoulder service leadership can often appear to be without enough order. Those who crave that or aspire to be more ordered may make attempts to grab a leadership position or just take over. When considering who would be a good example of a famous servant leader, I was instantly drawn to consider the life of Jesus Christ. As a powerful leader who made an incredible difference among his followers, he exemplifies the servant leader by serving his disciples, even to the point of foot washing. However, I chose to consider the lives of the fictional characters in the medical military sitcom drama MASH instead of using real leaders. The servant leader I chose is Father Mulcahy, the chaplain. The second leadership style I chose to examine is the laissez faire leadership style. This term was first used by Kurt Lewin. This French term explains the hands off approach that some leaders use. They may do so out of laziness or out of trust. In either case, workers are left to make decisions about projects or finances or personnel on their own. They are called to problem solve and create without direction from above. The laissez faire method has had success with a staff that is self motivated and knowledgeable. They are not in need of specific guidelines to be productive. Unfortunately, for those who do not fit into that category, who might be craving direction from an involved leader, may not be productive at all without a leader presence. The laissez faire style can be seen as one without strong, involved leadership. Again, we turn to the characters of MASH for an example of a famous fictional person. Colonel Henry Blake emerges as the laissez faire leader. He is often seen with his feet on his desk, wearing a fishing hat, and otherwise distracted. He even looks bothered when those in his charge can't figure things out without his input. The third leadership style explored here is authoritarian. This style was compared to laissez faire as a contrasting method by social theorist Kurt Lewin. Authoritarian leaders are very rule governed and decisive. They dictate policy without input from staff. They might be interested in the growth of the organization, but more often are more interested in personal gain and power than in success of their subordinates. The benefit of leadership like this is that decisions can be made quickly. This works well for times of crisis, so it is often used in the military, among service organizations like police and fire departments, or in emergency situations. Naturally, the negative side of that is that the leader is detached from the workers and not invested in helping them to progress. Workers don't feel like they are a part of the successes within the organization where leaders are authoritarian. They tend to feel micromanaged and not trusted. The morale then suffers. In MASH, the character of head nurse Margaret Houlihan exemplifies this type of leadership, particularly in the early years. She is a rule follower who cannot bend and must oversee every detail of her subordinates. She is concerned with promoting herself up the ranks and wishes to see her nurses succeed to meet her own personal goals. The last leadership style considered here, transformational leadership, was initially introduced by James V. Downton, the first to coin the term. Transformational leaders are seeking to take their organization and their staff through a change or transformation. In order to do that, transformational leaders use charisma and charm to inspire their followers. They seem to put self interest aside for the good of the organization. They lead by example, making sacrifices for the greater good. There is a high success rate among those under a transformational leader. People in these organizations feel inspired, accepted, appreciated, and as though they are a vital part of something important. The downside to this is that this type of leadership can also be used to lead people in a negative direction. Leaders like Hitler and bin Laden are said to be transformational leaders. They took their followers through a change, but in a dark direction. Colonel Potter is the example of a transformational leader who led in a positive direction. He is continually looking to inspire those who are in his charge. He uses authoritarian methods when necessary, but is often seen consulting with others, encouraging them to collaborate to work toward the common goals of saving lives during wartime in a surgical hospital and getting home safely. He is very involved in decision making, but not rule governed and inflexible. He is not self serving, but on higher moral ground and seen in a positive light by those in his charge. When considering my own future as a leader in my family, in my community, and in my profession as an educator, I aspire to be somewhere between the servant leader and the transformational leader. Though now I tend to find myself in the authoritarian style, I see the benefits to making the effort to change that.